The ACLU has long been synonymous with freedom of speech. They defended it from even the most hated groups like the Nazis, the Klan, even the Jehovah's Witnesses. It was never about what you were saying. It was about the liberal principle of your right to say it. Well, they have new guidelines now, namely that before taking a case, ACL lawyers should consider if the case might cause offense to marginalized groups, or if a potential client's values are contrary to our values. Contrary to our values? Your values are free speech.
You'd think that with the whole woke carnival finally packing up its tents, the corporations that drank that rainbow-colored Kool-Aid would snap out of their trance. Some actually did. But a stubborn bunch is still clutching the same self-sabotaging dogma that wrecked their stock prices and burned through their credibility. Enter Bill Maher, the sharp-tongued, battle-hardened anti-woke crusader, marching straight into the flames to finish what he started. And he didn't just rant about it. He lit the match live on air, roasting the hypocrisy in front of millions.
If you become the opposite of what you always were, you have to change your name. It's become a trend in America these days, morphing into something completely different from what you were founded as, but still pretending you're the old you. TLC stands for the Learning Channel. They used to have shows like Learn to Read and Ready, Set, Learn. Here's some of their present and recent offerings. Cake Boss, Gypsy Sisters, Toddlers and Tiaras, Extreme Couponing, What Not to Wear, My Teen is Pregnant and So Am I. 1,000-Pound Sisters and Alaskan Women Looking for Love. And that's just the shows about the Palins.
Maher starts by roasting TLC, once the Learning Channel, a network built to educate and enlighten America, for completely losing the plot. What was once a showcase of knowledge and inspiration has, he argues, morphed into a sideshow of woke absurdity. The documentaries and science programs that used to challenge and inform viewers have been replaced by reality shows that glorify obesity, celebrate chaos by letting kids run wild, and preach that dating should be limited to those who share your political or social dogma. His point lands hard. TLC didn't just drift off course, it willingly tossed its compass overboard. In chasing applause from the outrage crowd, it traded curiosity for conformity, and in doing so, became a shining, or rather, flickering, symbol of how low corporate America has stooped in the name of virtue signaling.
The A in A&E stands for arts. Seriously, they used to show the symphony. Now they have Deep Fried Dynasty, Hoarders, Storage Wars, Ghost Hunters, and Psychic Kids. You know, for people who find the Learning Channel too intellectual.
Remember when the A in A&E actually stood for arts? No, really, if they used to air symphonies. Now it's Deep Fried Dynasty, Hoarders, Storage Wars, Ghost Hunters, and Psychic Kids. Basically, programming for anyone who thinks the Learning Channel got too brainy. A&E, once a proud home for art and cultural storytelling, has long since jumped on the same ideological bandwagon. The art, gone. The entertainment, replaced with a steady drip of woke narratives masquerading as progressive insight. What used to be a stage for documentaries and creativity has become a showcase for confusion marketed as representation. It's as if the A in A&E has vanished completely, leaving behind nothing but the E. And this time, it stands for empty. Maher drives it home. A network once devoted to artistic excellence has become another casualty of the culture war. In its quest for clicks and applause, A&E traded substance for slogans, choosing ideology over integrity and spectacle over sincerity.
The History Channel has no history, and MTV has no music. I'm just saying, you can buy a petting zoo and turn it into a bondage dungeon, but you gotta change the sign.
Maher's dead on, and it's hard to argue otherwise. These networks are swimming in their own hypocrisy, clinging to brand names that no longer mean a thing while their programming tells a completely different story. If A&E's all about lowbrow entertainment now, then drop the act and just call it E. And if TLC has ditched learning for chaos and spectacle, let's be honest, it's really TC, the Chaos Channel. Maher's criticism hits right where it hurts. Don't wave the flag of virtue or heritage when you've abandoned both. Either live up to the name you built your reputation on, or admit you've sold your soul to the woke marketing department. Because at this point, these once great channels aren't broadcasting culture, they're broadcasting their own decline.
Last year, Playboy put a gay man on the cover, which I guess we're supposed to celebrate, even though it was 2021 and there's already a dozen magazines for gay guys, 13 if you count Martha Stewart Living. Do we really need LGBT representation in Playboy? There's a transgender teenager on every show on television except reruns of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
And then there's Playboy, yes, that Playboy, somehow deciding it needed to join the woke parade. The same magazine that once built an empire on celebrating beauty, boldness, and masculinity suddenly pivoted toward political correctness, rebranding itself to court the LGBTQ crowd. The irony is almost comedic. In a media landscape already oversaturated with forced representation, Playboy's attempt to look progressive came off less as brave and more as begging for relevance. In the process, it alienated the very audience that made it iconic, trading its swagger for sanctimony. Maher nails it again. Moves like this aren't about genuine inclusion. They're about corporate trend-chasing dressed up as virtue. Playboy didn't evolve, it surrendered, and in doing so, it became the poster child for performative wokeness. A brand so busy chasing validation that it forgot who it was, who it's for, and why it mattered in the first place.
The same thing is going on with the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, which now celebrates all kinds of bodies except, you know, the good kind. Was it really such a crime against humanity to have one magazine once a year that was about finding creative ways for supermodels to hide their nipples? Now it looks like it's edited by the Huffington Post. Jeez.
The underlying aim of this cultural shift was deceptively simple and dangerously one-sided: undermine masculinity while elevating femininity. Suddenly, being a man became a flaw to ridicule or correct, while femininity was placed on an untouchable pedestal. That's why you never hear about toxic femininity, only the constant drumbeat of toxic masculinity. It became the easy weapon to shame men for being assertive, competitive, or strong. The pattern is everywhere. TV shows overflow with flawless, heroic moms and hapless, bumbling dads who can't even change a light bulb without guidance. The lesson is subtle but persistent. Men are the problem. Women hold all the answers. Maher dissects it sharply. This isn't equality. It's a cultural rewrite. Masculinity hasn't just been ignored. It's been intentionally mocked, diluted, and replaced with a timid, apologetic version that's afraid to stand tall.
Valentine's Day, which was always a day to celebrate coupledom. It wasn't complicated. Flowers, chocolates, blah, blah. And yet, every year now, I more and more hear this idea that Valentine's Day is also a day to celebrate being alone. Be your own Valentine. That's right, on the one day was specifically set aside to honor bonding between two people. Don't do that. Make it about the opposite of that. Be your own Valentine. Get your own cheap, stale chocolates at CVS.
Maher's gaze then landed on Valentine's Day, and the results were downright hilarious. What was once a celebration of love, connection, and shared moments has been seized by the woke brigade and stripped of all joy. Romance and companionship have been replaced by a bizarre glorification of loneliness. Suddenly, being single isn't just a stage of life, it's a political or lifestyle statement. Wanting a partner? Apparently that makes you dependent, weak, or outdated. Maher tore into the absurdity with relish. A holiday meant for affection has been reduced to a self-love pep rally. The woke crowd has drained the warmth and spontaneity from Valentine's Day, swapping roses and chocolates for hashtags and empty affirmations. What was once a celebration of togetherness has become yet another victim of ideological overreach, and Maher isn't letting anyone forget it.
The Boy Scouts of America used to be an organization for boys because girls have cooties. But now the Boy Scouts accept girls, which I guess is inclusive, but it ignores the very important need for boys to sometimes get together as boys to fart in a sleeping bag and laugh at that, which girls don't find funny. It also ignores the fact that there has always also been a scout troop for girls. You may have heard of it, the Girl Scouts.
The woke agenda never seems to let common sense get in the way. Take the Boy Scouts, for instance. For decades, there were two clear paths: Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, each with a purpose, teaching values, and building character in its own way. Suddenly, that wasn't enough. In the name of inclusion, girls had to be welcomed into the Boy Scouts. Why? The Girl Scouts weren't exclusive or lacking opportunities. They already had a proud, established tradition. But of course, the woke movement thrives on fixing what isn't broken. Maher calls out the absurdity. Inclusion has morphed into intrusion. It's no longer about equality. It's about erasing distinctions that once made perfect sense. The outcome? Confusion, controversy, and the slow dismantling of institutions that taught discipline, teamwork, and leadership, all sacrificed at the altar of performative progress.
Can't anything just be what it is anymore? Weight Watchers used to be a club for people to lose weight, back when that was a good thing. Now we're so through the looking glass that obesity, the absolute undeniable #1 cause for ill health and death in America, is called body positivity. And people are shamed for losing weight. It happened to Adele. Weight Watchers is so intimidated, they changed their name to WW. Shh. Why not just call yourselves Wait, don't tell me?
The body positivity movement. One of the few woke crusades that almost inspires sympathy. At first glance, it seemed noble. Self-acceptance, confidence, and liberation from impossible beauty standards. But, as with everything the woke crowd touches, it quickly went off the rails. What started as a push for self-love morphed into glorifying obesity and dismissing real health concerns as fat phobia. Maher calls it what it really is, a ticking time bomb masquerading as empowerment. You can't preach self-care while normalizing behaviors that harm your body. Science, logic, and common sense were tossed aside in favor of feelings and slogans. The result? A movement that buckled under the weight of its own contradictions. No matter how loud the hashtags or how polished the slogans, unhealthy can't be made healthy. And everyone knew it was only a matter of time before reality showed up to collect the bill.
Before taking a case, ACL lawyers should consider if the case might cause offense to marginalized groups, or if a potential client's values are contrary to our values. Contrary to our values? Your values are free speech and the First Amendment. Those are your values. Your whole purpose in life is not to be worried about offense to marginalized groups, because we understand that free speech is an even more important value than never being offended.
Exactly. Since when did the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, start tiptoeing around people's feelings? This is the very organization that built its reputation defending free speech, no matter how controversial or unpopular. Their mission was simple and unwavering: protect anyone being silenced for speaking their mind. Somewhere along the way, though, that mission shifted. When a handful of woke ideologues slipped into leadership, the ACLU's backbone began to soften. The fearless defenders of liberty became cautious gatekeepers, deciding which speech was acceptable and which wasn't. Maher didn't hold back. An institution once synonymous with courage and constitutional principle has now become a playground for pandering politics. The ACLU stopped defending freedom. It started defending feelings, proving that even the strongest institutions can crumble when ideology trumps principle. Maher's point couldn't be sharper. Wokeness isn't progress, it's cultural rot wrapped in moral superiority. From TV networks and magazines to scouting programs and civil rights organizations, anything built on purpose and principle has been hijacked by virtue signaling and hypocrisy. These companies preach inclusion while shunning common sense, celebrate authenticity while silencing dissent, and glorify weakness while mocking strength. His crusade isn't about politics, it's about sanity. It's a wake-up call to realize that destroying tradition doesn't equal enlightenment. When every cultural pillar bends to appease outrage, what remains isn't progress, it's chaos in a cloak of compassion. Maher isn't shy about calling it out, loudly, unapologetically, and on live television. And that wraps up today's video. If you loved our spicy commentary, smash that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.